Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemons, and this is a breakdown from Marvel Studios' Agatha All Along teaser trailer that was viewed by the audience at the Disney Upfronts, but not to us. Luckily enough, so many news outlets and creators have actively shared their very thorough descriptions for the teaser trailer, and that combined with what we know gives us a great glimpse at what's to come on September 18th to Disney+. But before we get into it, first you can support New Rockstars by checking out some of our awesome merch options available right now at nerdriot.shop. We have some new shirts inspired by the latest Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. Plus, you can grab some awesome merch inspired by X-Men 97. I'm wearing one right now. It says, "Heed my command." I love this shirt. And guess what? It comes as a crop top, because you guys know it's summer. Tummy's out. Support the channel by going to check out nerdriot.shop. There you go. Now you know where to go. Now we'll get into it. According to IGN, the trailer opens as Agatha Harkness, not as the witch we saw in WandaVision, but as a detective struggling with a murder case. As she glances at a list of dates, next October 13th, a familiar name appears, W. Maximoff. Ooh, we know who that is. Aubrey Plaza's character appears after that asking, "Agatha, is this really how you see yourself?" That witch is gone, leaving you in a distorted spell, Plaza says. Claw your way out. We then see Agatha snap out of it, saying, "She took every bit of power I had. I can be that witch again." What follows are a number of eerie, witchy sequences as Agatha vows to walk the witch's road and build her own coven. Patti LuPone's character appears and asks, "What witch in her right mind would join Agatha Harkness's coven?" Agatha gasps and responds, "I'm not looking for right-minded witches." So let's break this down and piece it all together, because this picks up after the events of WandaVision, though the amount of time hasn't really been disclosed. We left off in WandaVision with a blowout between Agatha and Wanda, then Wanda putting Agatha under a spell that forced Agatha to revert back to her nosy sitcom neighbor persona, Agnes. Agatha in the trailer is a detective struggling with a murder case. This we see glimpses of in the featurette from a couple months ago. Upon further investigation, Scarlet Witch updates notice the tiny bit of red hair draped over the edge under the white sheet, so the victim is alluded to be Wanda, though the crime and suspects are still unknown. As we know, this is an illusion. Nothing is real. This is all projections and manipulations created by Wanda under her spell on Agatha. However, even under her own illusions in WandaVision, the outside world was trying to make contact with Wanda, which affected her lockdown spell at times. So imagine that happening to Agatha, who wants to break free. I expect she's much more welcoming of the outside world trying to free her than Wanda was. As Agatha glances at the list of dates, one reads October 13th next to the name W. Maximoff. This could be from the toe tag on the body we saw in the featurette, and we know W. Maximoff is Wanda Maximoff. WandaVision took place mainly in the fall of 2023, so this could be a alleged date that she died in the series. After WandaVision, we see Wanda next in Multiverse of Madness, and this is when Wanda crushes herself with Wondergore, presumably killing herself. So this date could reflect that, seeing as those events also happened during the fall of 2024. What we do know is the date is created by Wanda, since this is basically a simulation. So this date, to me, is hinting at the day we lost Wanda Maximoff, metaphorically, later gaining the Scarlet Witch. Back to the trailer, Aubrey Plaza's character appears asking Agatha, "Is this really how you see yourself?" "That witch is gone, leaving you in a distorted spell," Plaza says. "Claw your way out." Aubrey Plaza is playing a witch named Rio, and many sources imply she's the Green Witch with a connection to Earth and life itself. She's also expected to be the antagonistic character, but not the main villain, which checks out with who Aubrey Plaza is naturally. The Green Witch is new for the series in MCU, but supposedly fashioned after Dion, the Emerald Warlock from Marvel Comics. A character whose magic comes from the Earth Mother Gaia, is the sister of Chthon, the creator of Chaos Magic, so they're like witch cousins. Additionally, her character is equipped as a warrior witch with a dagger, so there's more chaotic energy that will be dripping from this Rio character. Rio will be playing a big part in the series because I believe Agatha's subconscious is trying to free her from this new hell, so she sees herself as a detective trying to solve her own demise. This is aided by Rio, who we see in the featurette standing over Agnes. I assume this scene is Agatha still under the hex, receiving visions like calls to action from the one witch willing to help her. Like in WandaVision, they tried communicating with Wanda via radio. Imagine if this was done by a witch. They could probably break through virtually or remotely. In Multiverse of Madness, when Doctor Strange recognizes Wanda's been caught in her own lie, she says this.
You know, the hex was the easy part. The lying, not so much.
The spell she has cast over Agatha is easy. However, all these elaborate stories allowing her to be a detective and eccentric lies woven into the spell, it may be easy to disprove through the help of Rio, leading Agatha to waking up out of her spell. Released through the US Copyright Office public record system, in the first episode we're gonna see Agatha Harkness finally break out of her spell she has been trapped in. She can't wait to go back to her old murderous ways, only to find that she is powerless. So I believe it's through Rio that she wakes up. With Rio's insane character description, I also assume they're a bad influence for each other, and there's there's also this rumor going around that Rio was Agatha's ex-wife before Agatha got the hold of the Darkhold in the 1600s, so it makes sense from their history she'd be the only one willing to bring her back. If you feel like you missed the day in school where everybody else learned computer programming, you're not alone, but now you can catch up and become a programming expert yourself with Boot.dev. With Boot.dev, you'll learn back-end web development from start to finish in the Python and Go programming languages. And because the team behind Boot.dev had to learn code themselves once, they know that the best way to learn is to make sure you're never bored, which is why Boot.dev is online, self-paced, and feels like a captivating RPG game. You will earn XP, levels, achievements, and complete quests to get to the top spot on the global leaderboard. If you ever struggle to understand a concept, you can get help from Boots, an AI-powered bear wizard that will ask you questions that help you understand rather than hand you the answers. The platform is designed to get you writing a ton of code because getting your hands on the keyboard and shipping projects is the only way to really learn. Not everyone has the means to pay for a membership, so all the content on Boot.dev is free to read and watch in guest mode. A paid membership just unlocks interactivity and the game that goes with it. Click the link in the description box and use code NEWROCKSTARS to get 25% off your first payment for Boot.dev. That's 25% off your first month on your first year depending on the subscription you choose. So now Agatha is woken up from the spell, saying she took every bit of power I had, I can be a witch again. This is followed by a number of eerie witchy sequences as Agatha vows to walk the witch's road and build her coven. So to gain her powers, Agatha must enter the witch's road. And in the comics, this was a plane of existence only sorcerers or witches could venture into. So the famous scooper, Can We Get Some Toast, mentioned last year, in order to enter the witch's road, a witch must sing a song, and this song must be sung with their coven. Thus why we see she's trying to make a coven in the first place. We've seen the coven as well in different promotional material. One member will be Joe Locke, who according to a stunt double stand-in resume found by Scarlet Witch updates is going to be playing Teen/Billy, so Teen Billy. Though I don't think this is the Billy we followed in WandaVision, unless it's like the child that was forced to be one of Wanda's children. I think this Billy might come from like another timeline perhaps. Another member is Patty Lupone, who kind of spilled the beans herself on her character and others in the coven during an interview with The View. She described,
and so we are a coven of witches, and the witches are Catherine Hahn, Aubrey Plaza, and the familiar, if anybody knows Heartstopper, is Joe Locke, and then Sashir Zameda, Ali An, and myself, and I play Lilia Calderou, a 450-year-old Sicilian witch.
It's a character who appeared first back in 1973. She's a witch with the power to see the future to a degree, but in the MCU, she's gonna be a 450-year-old Sicilian witch whose powers is in divination and whose trial is tarot. Tarot cards are on the crew merch and used in promotional material so often. We even see glimpses of her psychic shop, I think, in the featurette. So her powers and character will be big parts of the series as well. Lastly, in the interview, she mentions fellow castmates Aubrey Plaza and a familiar as Joe Locke. She also mentions Sashir Zamata, Ali An, and from images, it looks like Deborah Jo Rupp, aka Miss Hart, is also part of their coven. According to an interview with Mashable, Sashir will be playing sorcerer Jennifer Kale, who from Marvel Comics is cousin to Johnny Blaze and practices ancient Atlantean magic. Sashir mentioned, the way we form this character is very different from what I think people will expect, so we might be seeing something completely different here. Ali An will be playing a woman named Alice, and from set photos, Alice seems to be a security guard, and I assume at the Westview shopping mall. We saw set photos last year of Joe Locke and Catherine Hahn shooting at this mall. They must be recruiting her to join the coven as soon as possible. Deborah Jo Rupp, on the other hand, is actually a very interesting person to be a part of the coven. She was our Miss Hart, aka Sharon Davis from WandaVision, who may be revealed to be a little bit of a witch or just a stowaway for the coven, since she and Agatha technically don't have powers right now and can still be seen on the witch's road. The trailer ends with Patty Lupone's character asking what witch in her right mind would join Agatha Harkness's coven. Agatha gasps and responds, "I'm not looking for right-minded witches." So we've seen our non-right-minded witches, and according to the trailer, we see a number of eerie witchy sequences, which will probably get glimpses of the willow trees that exist on the witch's road, but also make up the new title, the plenty of tarot-like imagery, including the 12-sided star. There's also casting for the Salem 7. The Scarlet Witch updates tweeted the characters along with their corresponding animal, which may also show up as eerie witch imagery. The Salem 7 are supposed to be the daughters of the witches killed by Agatha seeking revenge, so their imagery should be sprinkled throughout wherever we don't see them to add more suspense and mystic deceptions. Behind Catherine, Patty, and Joe at the Disney Upfronts was a full blood moon and witches flying silhouetted by it. In my very light research, the blood moon and its impact linked to witchcraft varies. Some see it as a time of transformation and can engage in rituals that connect to the moon and earth, drawing energy from both, but I think it's different depending on what your worship is like. Regardless, this could signify the coven being most powerful during the events of a blood moon, or some sort of like race against time alongside the blood moon that we might see in the show. I like the art here as a depiction of witches just being witches. It kind of reminds me of Hocus Pocus, but I think there's a connection to maybe the blood moon just always existing on the witch's road. And this could be once they all, as a coven, gain their powers. And that's it for my little teaser trailer breakdown of what we got from the Disney Upfronts. Let me know in the comments if you're as excited for me for this show. Agatha All Along premieres September 18th with a 2-episode premiere, so we are very ready. We're hyped. We'll be sitting, waiting, wishing for all of this. Follow me at Lulu_Clemons and subscribe to all 3 channels in the new Rockstars network for breakdowns, news coverage, everything you love. Thanks for watching. Avada Kedavra!